Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video where we're talking about a unique event, and I'll explain what this all is, don't worry. We're a unique event that's going to be occurring next week. Could lead to a Arctic blast, or a relatively a equivalent to an Arctic blast in June. So this is something that I've been noticing and tracking for the past several days. Haven't made a video on it quite yet. I talked about a major pattern change, but haven't really connected to this event that will be occurring right now. But this event that is gonna occur is basically has to do 100% with Tropical Storm Cristobal. Maybe not 100, but a significant portion of it is going to be with Tropical Storm Cristobal. And if you like this channel, by the way, if you would like to subscribe, please consider doing so. I do all sorts of weather-related content, and will be increasing my uploads throughout this fall, this summer and fall, and in winter, obviously. So if you'd like to subscribe, please do so. If you don't, perfectly fine. If you'd like to like the video, since you're a recurring fan, that would be amazing. If not, perfectly fine. So let's get into and talk about what the Gfs model shows. So just before we start this, I just want to let you guys know that both models are in relatively good agreement on this. Obviously, there are some differences. The GFS and European, they're like oil and water. They're never gonna mix together and combine into one agreed model run. It's gonna always have its differences. But notice that if we were to look at the hurricane or the tropical storm Cristobal, it is 996, and it continues to intensify as it gets to the coast. Really, it's nothing too powerful. It's early on in the hurricane season, so it's going to be really hard to get a category 3 or 4, or even a category 1, to be honest with you. It's tough. So this one may reach category 1. It looks as if I think right now there's tropical storm warnings issued, or watches. I don't think there are any hurricane watches or warnings. To be honest with you, I haven't really kept up to date with it. I would have to check out what the recent updates are. But regardless, it's not going to really have a big impact whether it's stronger or a little bit weaker on the event, on the Arctic invasion that could occur after it. So this isn't loading for some reason, so I'll come back to you once it does. So I am back, and I apologize about that a little bit delay. But if you were to look at this, this tropical storm, which we could go down to the scroll down and look at this. It is 991 at landfall, maybe a bit stronger, maybe a bit weaker. The deviance from what's predicted will definitely be there, and this is definitely something we'll have to watch, obviously. But again, it won't have a significant impact unless the track changes immensely. Really, it's a track that matters. As you can see that at this time, lucky enough or not, there's a giant storm across. This is southern Manitoba, and this one is a beast. It'll drop quite a bit of snow across Hudson Bay, the southwestern shore of Hudson Bay, up to 40 inches in some locations. This thing's massive, and it has a lot of energy left in the mountains, as that's where it comes from. You can see a lot of rain, and with that energy, this tropical storm really just wrings out the moisture out of the atmosphere, and you can see that it combines with this this nice wave of precipitation across the Dakotas and into Nebraska and Minnesota, the upper plains. And then you can see this thing just really intensifies in pressure. 987 stronger than it was at landfall, and then it really just bombs out. 975. There's again that heavy snow right there across the southwestern shores of Hudson Bay and James Bay, and you can see that right behind that, look what we get. We see very, very chilly temperatures. We see a high pressure driving in. That low pressure really just instigated that very cool air, and the reason for that is, well, all low pressure spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, so the winds on this thing are just absolutely massive. They're traveling in this direction. That was a bit bad, but and on the back side we also have winds traveling from the back. Like this, and this thing is massive, and it really has a huge wind field. You're going to notice that with that being played out, we see a ton of that cold air getting rushed in, and this will be very chilly. We could see 50s and 60s as the daytime highs across much of the Midwest. Now, this won't last for too long, as it will start getting warmer again, but it's definitely going to lead to a drastic cool down. And if we were to look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies, starting from around the 1:20 hour, which is Wednesday, early next week, we see that that this storm right now, or that this storm is, so we see that we have a lot of cold air after the storm. Out in front of it, we have very, very warm air. Orange colors, that is above average in terms of Celsius anomaly from the norm. And if you were to look behind it, again, you see that very cold air. Again, it's not cold, it's summer, but it's definitely chilly. And these averages really show themselves, or these anomalies really show to their fullest during the days. You can see it really amplifies to around 10 to 15 degrees below in Celsius, so probably 20 to 25 degrees below average in Fahrenheit. And this doesn't really move that quickly. You can see it sticks around and makes it all the way to the Gulf Coast. So kind of like what what comes must go around, or I don't know that saying. It's something like that. And you can see that basically a week almost after landfall from that tropical storm, which is very well defined right there by the anomalies, it brings back the cool air to the south. And you can see it sticks around there for quite a while. So it's definitely going to be a cooler period of time. That's pleasant, as June, tends to be sometimes hot and muggy and warm. And it has been for much of the country the past 5 days. So this will definitely be a bit of a pleasant cool down. Now, you can see this is where the model run stops, as it's at 276, and it only goes out, and it's still progressing into the 280s and 290s and into the 300s. So let's go back a single model run. You can see it still shows that relatively chilly air across the Midwest, as that's going to be the theme with the model runs. There's gonna be differences, obviously, because that's how model runs work. They're not meant to be consistent. That would be something wrong. There's new information coming in. There is constant tweaks to the details. That's why it constantly changes. It annoys the meteorologist, but it's essential. Now this is taking a little bit while to load, so I'll bring it back once it loads. So if we were to take a closer look at the previous model run, we can see that there are some differences. Not really in terms of, I guess up until the 270 hour, they show the cold air not as well pronounced across the southern U.S. It doesn't really reach it, as the latest model run shows. And then we see a brief period of warm temperatures. You can see a little bit of a warm up, but then we see another possibly storm system, or just a cool feature, literally a cooler feature in terms of temperatures, not just in terms of how I like it. But you can see that it drives down and it continues to stay across the southern U.S. Or across the central U.S. So it looks as if a prolonged area of chill is on the way across the eastern U.S., especially in the long range. So if you were to look at the west, you can see there's going to be some cool temperatures around early next week and into the weekend. You can see that stays around, but it generally starts warming up. There's going to be phases of cool and warmth. As you can see right there, there's another wave of cool temperatures, and then it's warm again, and it could stay a little bit prolonged right there, warmth. But again, the long range continues to show some, I guess, back and forth signals, mainly cool, but definitely a warm up. It could be on the way coming into late June. But you can see up and through at least mid-June, you can see it's going to be cooler 13th through the 19th of June 2020. Below average across the east, below across the northwest, maybe slightly above across the southwest, and above across the central western plains, if you will, southern and into southern Texas as well. Or sorry, the southern plains, whole state of Texas will be above average. 6 to 10 day outlook, much of the same thing, just a little bit darker colors, as we're waiting for this to load. And you may be wondering, how do I know darker colors? Well, I already looked at it. And basically what darker colors is, doesn't mean that the magnitude will necessarily be, it'll be more below average. It just means that the confidence in below average temperatures is really high if it's, at 90%, the dark blue or the dark red, and it gets less and less colorful as the confidence decreases. So for some reason it stopped working, so I'll reconnect. And this is what the 6 to 10 day outlook shows. You can see still cool across the northwest, still cool across the eastern U.S. And again, it's just maybe a little bit warmer towards the west, and the cooler air is a little bit warmer, or a little bit in the center towards the west as well. Maybe a bit above average across Maine. But you can see that the colors are deeper as the confidence is higher, and that's naturally. You can see it's lesser distance far out. It's 6 to 10 days instead of 8 to 14, so they have more confidence in this. We could actually look at the 3 to 4 week outlook today, since today's Friday and they released that, so that is actually very exciting. And if you were to look at the 3 to 4 week outlook, it's pretty remarkable. You can see they have 100% of the United States above average, and that even includes Alaska. So I don't know how if they're this confident about this, but according to them, the anomalous heights are forecast to be above normal across much of the country. So you know, they're really just showing above average temperatures. To what extent these above average temperatures will occur, that's a bit unknown, as if you were to look 3 to 4 weeks back and to look at you know, if they were you should look at the 6 to 10 day outlook now, you can see below average across the east. And when the 3 to 4 week outlook was issued for this time frame, it definitely wasn't like this, as they tend to favor warmth in the 3 to 4 week outlook than the cool. And you know, this may not be true, but I do agree. I think it'll be more of a warmer pattern than what we're seeing in this 6 to 10 day outlook. This looks just a little bit too chilly. Well, it looks accurate for this period, but I don't think it would be the same for the 3 to 4 week outlook. So I think this is actually very well done. It's a bit odd that it's 100% of the U.S. I've never really seen anything like this, to be honest with you. Which gives me that kind of raises a signal. But again, it looks as if the heat is gonna be on through much of the summer, and you know, cool air will be hard to come by. So enjoy while it lasts. And if you look at the official June outlook, you can see it's warm across much of the country. So that's coming to a certain validity. If you were to look at the first 6-7 days of June, it was warm, and it's gonna be warm. But then the mid half is gonna be cool, and maybe the ending half is gonna be warm as well. So probably not as warm as what they're showing here, but it's gonna be relatively above average still. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.